days, 90 days, you only get 1% for that. It's a state reg that they put out.
It's mandated.
It's a little confusing to me because if you're at day 45 or maybe day 58, because now you get the second bill, right?
I only give you penalties when the 15th comes around. So every billing, that's when penalties are put on. So you got some time in there.
30 days past due will be a 10% penalty for that month, and then it's a 1% for the next month.
So,
okay,
yeah. I don't agree with it personally, but
if you pay in 30 days, you have 10%, or if you wait another month.
No, it's 30%. It's 10% plus the 1%.
Oh, that's the 1%. Yeah, for the whole thing.
It really kind of does. You get that first 10%.
But that doesn't go away.
One conversation.
It doesn't get added. Yeah, it doesn't get added. So you get the 10% penalty for the amount you owe.
So you have a $10 and a $100 bill, then you go 60 days, and that's another dollar.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this says though it's over 60 days. Your billing cycle's under 60.
This is not, the 60-day thing is not implemented yet.
Right.
That's,
I'm working on it.
that's going to be mandated by state law. And we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, we're trying.
Preparing for it.
I'm moving in that direction.
Okay. So, are there any other questions? Okay, so I have a question is how we're going to direct staff, or how shall we direct staff in implementing this new policy? It should pass here. Because
As far as
I understand
there's got to be some public notification, I'm assuming. Do we have to notify about this being changed?
I think that a flyer sent out with a bill.
Yeah. I'm not saying town crier.
I would say that the flyer sent out with a bill, perhaps something posted on our website, but I would also like to give staff
Till April 25th.
a one grace period, a one grace for everyone that violates. You can't say for the next 30 days or the next 90 days or whatever, because it may happen to some people that aren't the frequent flyers.
Yes.
Right, and if they're caught like, this is a new policy I wasn't aware of, I saw my bill in the time.
I'd like to give staff the ability to say, well, you know what, I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Every month.
I'm going to waive the penalty this time.
So each account would be allowed one exception.
So
Exactly.
in the billing policy, it does allow for one-time waiver of penalties and fees by the general manager. So the general manager can approve that. So
then there's your
miss one
discretion.
time-
You've got
There you go, then it's already built in.
Yeah, you've got the board clerk and
We
you
work
guys
together on.
the
Right, when
public
he's
and
not
say-
here, are you going to have a blanket policy to allow one time only? I mean, we don't want a situation where we're charging some people and not charging others.
No, it has to be fair across the board.
Right.
And if you're going to go April of 2020, my suggestion is you advertise the clear policy like every single month for 6 months prior to implementing it.
On a mailer?
I can put it on the bill. I can put it on the bill. I can put it in a mailer 1 month. I can.
Bold?
Are you saying that it can't be implemented based on attitude?
And no, it doesn't really give me a size.
I'm
mass.
just asking.
You could.
If you bring donuts, no.
Well, my concern in delaying implementation is we've already delayed this for 18 years.
Yeah, no, we're not delaying it. But if we already have an ability, if the general manager already has the ability to excuse a penalty one time, then that speaks for itself. We really don't need to discuss it any further. Now, that authority doesn't extend to staff. So it's going to cause...
I understand what you're saying. If it's advertised 6 months out and it's clearly noted and they had notification, I'm honestly, why would you
Well,
give?
this would be implemented now, unless they motion to.
Yeah, we're going to implement it now.
Okay.
And we're going to advertise it.
Okay.
And the general manager has the authority to waive that.
I understand what you're saying.
So what I would do.
But you don't have the authority.
Okay, but
to
what I
waive
would do is I would make a list and tell these people that it needs to get approved by the general manager, like I do with most everything else.
There you go.
Because any of the leak adjustments, you have to come to.
And everything's gotta get
No matter
signed.
if he's here,
Same thing.
ask
Well,
him,
and if the-
waive it,
Yeah.
don't put him on the
And
list.
if he's not here, it could be more than likely handled
I'll
over
get
the
back to you
phone.
tomorrow,
You can
yeah.
be briefed of the situation and.
Yeah, and I check in with her.
I have a legal
I just-
question though.
All I'm getting is that, is whatever the
Don't worry.
policy is, I don't want it
Hopefully
followed.
the others
Sure.
are-
I don't want a designee,
Okay, yeah.
because it doesn't say.
No, it's general manager.
Right.
And I don't believe
Right
this
down the line.
way, you know, to waive a fee for something that applies to everybody with notification for the purpose of negligence. If they were notified and they know of it, that's not
Yeah.
really an excuse.
Extraordinary circumstances.
Right, but we're kind of saying that in this instance, we would prefer if you did waive it the first time on each person.
And
Discretion.
she makes contact with every single person with phone, letters, and everything. So, and you're right, and I don't disagree with that, for her to work that front desk and make these contacts and communication with the community, I listen to what the vibe is as far as how people are complying to our policy. And so I do think, yes, if this was put in place and it was missed because it is different than what the general practice has been, then there's probable cause, there's a reason to maybe waive that fee with the understanding that
Yeah,
this
we'll have
isn't
a
a regular
discussion.
thing. So,
Yeah, I would charge the fee, and if they pay it, they pay it.
Yeah,
If they ask for forgiveness, then give them forgiveness.
exactly. I have a
One time.
legal
But it's
question.
the bigger issue is keeping a list of the people
she's very good at that.
that
Oh, yeah.
have been given the grace.
But since we got her here, I'd like to have a legal question for Elaine. Is there anything legally that we have to do to notify the community, the public, water users, that we are implementing these fees with this policy and the couple coming next?
I think it's probably good practice. I don't know if there's anything legally required.
Okay.
I can look into it for you though.
I don't want to not do something
I
that's
would say
legally
probably
required.
practice to do so. It's not gonna harm you to inform the public.
No, I totally plan on doing it. I just needed to see if there was anything legally.
There's backup for you.
Yeah. Well, like sometimes I have to do a
And also,
public hearing in the
the website
newspaper.
too. I don't know how many people go to the website, but put it on the website.
Oh,
Oh, that's a good idea.
Pretty much everything's.
Is there a way you can put it on the bill?
Yeah, we're
I can put it on
gonna.
everything.
And if I have a permanent, can we, excuse us, can we find a permanent place on the bill and just always put that out there?
I can see how much room I have. The bills, they're just, the program we use, it's a little touchy, so let me see what I can do.
Okay, I think that the penalty should be listed on the bill.
I do have the penalties
every
and that
time.
it's, you know,
Sure.
30 days, you get 10%. I have a lot of stuff on there.
Okay.
So let's see.
Says it right there.
How about we put
When they come in, that's fine.
where they can find the penalties on.
Yeah, here it is.
I can do that. The shorter the better, really. It's a small document, not much room.
I have two more questions, if I may, Mr. President. What happens if someone has their meter, it's locked up, they got a lock on it, and they decide that, well, I'm gonna cut the lock, what happens at that point?
Tampering fee.
We have a tampering fee.
Okay, is it in here?
No, I just noticed that that's not listed there.
Yes, that's why.
What do we have a $30 tampering fee right now, right? Or 60. Nobody does it
What
early,
if they cut the lug off the?
Nobody does it. So
Okay,
all those
2
people
since
cut
I've
their
been here.
locks.
What if they cut the lugs instead of the lock? Then we have
Then
a
it's the-
disabled
That's a
cord.
new meter.
Then it's the replacement of that service.
Okay. On top of the,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and cost to do it and everything else.
We've only had to do that once.
Okay, so
can I guess the last name?
can we make a motion to approve this with the addition, with the amendment of a tampering fee?
And then also want to, if I may ask, what about putting these fee notice in Spanish as well?
That's the thing,
I don't know.
I know, I can post it on the website in Spanish and
Yes.
everything like that. That I can do, because
That's
I
what I'm doing.
Look, we need to put like a little, like, I don't know, like a sky blue piece of paper in the, bilingual, both sides.
Yeah, I can do it once.
Let's do it once, and then have what information you can fit on the bill. You think that's, that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a
But
Spanish
no, I
speaker.
agree with it though, that people need to
Just
know. and they
switch
need
it
to be
back
able
and
to
forth
read
every month from English to Spanish.
Also, I have a Spanish speaker up front, and she really tries to reach out and explain more in detail to those people that she knows need it.
Well, we want to get the word out prior to though.
I agree. So you guys need to tell when to implement this too in your motion.
So then, we need a motion with.
We need a motion with an amendment for tampering and with a date that it would be instituted.
What do we want for the tampering fee is your amendment?
I don't want to change it. It was 60.
64 and.
60 plus materials if our stuff's damaged.
And if they cut the lock off, the 60 covers the cost of the lock.
Right.
If they cut the
Well, that's what I'm saying,
service,
yeah.
then it basically falls under the repairs above. 60 plus damage.
Okay, but
And it's $45 an hour.
But now that's not a recovery of costs. That's just not right. Fine.
Yeah, yeah.
So do we want that in here? Because this seems to be more of a recovery
If
thing.
damage
This is a
exceeds.
recovery thing. The damage to a lock is pretty minimal.
Sure.
Damage to a service is really done on a case-by-case basis, and it's to recover costs. We're not charging more than it costs us to go fix it.
No, but the $60 doesn't go towards
But the
fixing it
$60
other than the law.
Right.
So it's a fine.
Yeah.
So do we want to include that in here? Is that your wishes?
I gotta have it somewhere. Chart
I think it should, that's appropriate to have it with everything else.
If we include it, I
Here's
would
the
say,
schedule with all the fees, you know, might as well have that too.
in the top section, we could add a line that says, intentional damage to district property is billed at actual cost.
Okay. So they have to cause damage
Yes.
to get a tampering.
Well,
Cutting the lock is
actually,
No, that's not my question.
tampering technically isn't damaging. Because you can tamper with a service and we can go shut your meter off. And some meters don't have valves, they have plugs to lock them off. So if we go turn it off, you go turn it back on because you just don't want it off. And you start using water again, you're technically stealing the water.
Right. Okay, I agree with that, but you're gonna bill the person for it.
We're gonna
And
bill
that's what you're gonna charge the tampering fee.
Right.
Okay, so, but if a guy has a pipe burst in his house and runs out and shuts the meter off, is that tampering?
Technically it is, but we're not going to charge
We're
you
not doing
Okay,
under that type of
that's the
situation.
clarification.
Unless you pull the top off the cord, right? And then,
You know, the newer ones have the homeowner shut
Yes.
off on them, but not everybody has
Not
that.
everybody has that. We try to install them when we replace meters.
Yeah, you can't.
But you can't always do that. So
I know that.
tampering in the past and current practice is if we turn it off
Okay.
and put a lock on it or not, we turn it off, you go turn it back on. Or we put your meter in, you go take it out. You know.
I've been here 5 years, I've done it 3 times.
So
yeah.
tampering fee of $60 and,
No.
when you want it implemented?
Actually.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, today is notification time. I would say we do notification in March and
Yeah.
start it in the April 1st.
Yeah, because I have a CCR going out soon too.
April billing.
Stuff in the days.
You don't start anything on April 1st.
Well, no, we pass it up, the billing period, but with the time, with the time starting.
Billing period's on the 15th of every month, so I'd like 15.
Oh boy, tax day.
I would say April 15th.
Just can't win an April.
Hey,
Yeah.
who's really good at motioning in a nice straight line?
Who's got this first now?
Who's got this motion?
I'd like to motion
Yeah,
that this is
okay.
approved with the addition of the tampering fee to begin April 15th,
I'll second that.
With a notification.
with notification in this billing period for March.
Probably should state the $60 tampering fee.
I would like to state that the tampering fee will be listed as $60. Should it be $60 plus damages?
Plus damages if they
I would say so.
Yeah.
I'd like to rescind my statement and say I'd like that to be $60 plus damages.
Okay, so I got a motion from Censure with the addition of tampering fees of $60 plus any damages starting on April 15 with notification in March.
Yes.
I'll second that.
And then,
I didn't understand any of that.
are we gonna do the bilingual flyer in the pamphlet?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Two-sided.
I'll put a thing in in here, Anthony, to remind me.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Just for you.
Okay, now we get okay, I got a motion by Sangster, who seconded it? Parent. Vote, Director Palafox,
Yes.
Director Sangster,
Yes.
Director Calvin,
Yes.
Director Parent,
Yes.
President Green.
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Review and approve resolution 2019-07 adopting an application inspection process with associated fee schedule for fire life and safety review.
So I'm gonna, Scott and Kelly and myself reviewed the whole process, and I have Scott here who's put a lot of work into this to explain why the fire and life safety part was pulled out of the Wilser, and he'll explain it to you. Scott, that's all you, buddy.
Well, basically, this parallels with what the water, wastewater process is going through. So we removed the fire life safety component. Previously, the Wilser letters read, item number 1, Wilser application fee deposit of $1,000, and the fire life safety review letter of $150. And if the project was over 5,000 square feet, an additional 25 cents per square feet would be charged for over 5,000. So what this does, it provides a mechanism to actually receive the documents for the construction projects, similar to the water and wastewater application process. If you have a housing tract, you will bring the plans in for fire life safety review. The plans will be reviewed to make sure the hydrants are in place properly, there's proper turnarounds, fire access, things of that nature. The same applies for multifamily home or multifamily housing projects. And there is one proposed for 777 Monterey Road. I don't know if you're aware of that, but there's going to be a couple meetings on it. They're talking about building something there. And that'll have more information next month. It also applies to individual residents. So when somebody comes in and builds a housing tract, i.e. any of these housing tracts that we have, Mission Heights, Mission Meadows, Jazzytown, Arciero, People Self-Help 1, 2, plans will be submitted for each individual residence to make sure that the fire sprinkler component, the fire alarm system, the fire riser system, everything is compliant to what is required by fire code. And by the district having the power of fire, we are required to perform these inspections and these tasks. We have been doing them, but the process has been, for lack of a better word, flawed. And the fee schedule is not unlike the fee schedule that the water, wastewater is presented. It's just cost recovery. And I can get into detail as microscopic as you'd like, or we could just go broadsword at it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. The fees are based on our neighboring agencies. I went and researched fees from Paso City, Templeton, Cambria, San Luis City, for example. And we're not at the bargain basement level, but we are at the bottom level. We're not at a Paso City level or a San Luis City level. Basically, the fees are set forth to recover costs for receiving the plans, reviewing the plans, and providing 2 inspections for a single-family home. A multifamily unit is slightly different, and the fees are adjusted accordingly. If you go out and do an inspection on a multifamily housing unit, you're going to hopefully do all the units at once, or half the units at once, or a portion of them. The sprinkler systems get more elaborate for commercial systems, multifamily systems, things of that nature. We also included fees for other things that we are required to inspect, such as commercial cooking hood systems. There's, to the best of my knowledge, 10 hood ventilation systems in town currently that we're responsible to inspect on an annual basis, and they're required to have them maintained biannually by the fire code, but we're not required to go out and inspect them biannually, just once a year. But we are not charging for those fees. This is for a new hood installation. So all this is just new construction. You don't have to worry about somebody who's in business currently having to pay any of these fees unless they're installing a new system, if they're installing a new sprinkler system, if they're doing a modification to their project that requires one of these things to be implemented. If they're adding another hood system, for example, maybe the place next to the ranch wants to, they're going to separate and they want to put a hood in there and cook burgers or whatever, then they will be subject to the plan check and inspection process. We also included photovoltaic plan check fees. Photovoltaic systems are solar arrays that are being placed on houses. The fees are fairly low. It's a one-time deal, and it's just to receive the plans and go out and do basically one inspection. And I believe that rate is fair. We're not trying to, burden anybody with any extra cost, and I don't think the costs are prohibitive to where anybody's not going to want to do construction in our area. Every piece of property that we have within the district has a project on it. And something's going to happen, with exception to the strip down below the parish hall, which is zoned.
And right here.
Yeah, and right here. Well, there is a project, whether or not it's going to happen, and then our property next door, obviously. But at any rate, I'll be happy to answer any questions. I could explain the fee schedule to you. I could get into detail of square footage of homes that have been built and things that we could have done and shouldn't do.
One thing I want to say is when he referred to as being flawed prior to with the construction and the ordinances that we had in place, our Director of Utility Services has filled the will serves and the way the will serves read and did everything in compliance with the way we had it written. It was the way that it was written didn't comply with building. So, for instance, we'll use Jazzy Town when it was built and the way they did their will serve, it didn't fully cover everything that was there, but he still was required to go out and perform all the inspections. They were very time consuming, which we weren't getting anything back for that. And it was because of the way it was written.
I could explain that to you in detail.
On the fire side of things, and the way it was in the will serve, truly to go out and enforce and look over all of the things that need to be checked require a specific certification, because you're certifying that system is going to perform to what it says it's going to. Our Director of Utility Services is, we're fortunate that he's trained in most of those areas, but lettered by the law, when we go out there, we have somebody that has been documented through the training and is now able to perform to standard, so that if there was a petition to challenge it by one of the developers, we have something to stand behind. So I don't want to say it was flawed on behalf of what we understand. I know.
Yeah, I wasn't implying that at all. The system was flawed, and the mechanism wasn't in place to follow
I guess part of my statement though too is to say that we're stepping up to where we need to be as a fire protection district in compliance, so that also the other districts and cities and counties and all that recognize that we're at that level too.
So, we changed the 5,000 to 2,500 square feet.
The 5,000, 2,500 square feet, are you talking about the remodels or the...
Well, you referred to the
the
document you have that said 5,000, and this is charging...
We reduced for a single family home to 2,500 square feet. And the reason that was done is I can't name one 5,000 square foot house in the district. Now, we are potentially in the process of having houses built on Mission Bluffs up where you live. And those houses are probably pushing the 2,000, 2,200 square foot level. So going up to 5,000 square feet, didn't make sense. So I reduced that number to 2,500 square feet because it just 5,000 didn't fit. Where the 5,000 could have fit was like Rob was describing. Let's say Jazzy Town, for example. The way the will serve letter was written, it was a $150 fee, but you could view it as a project fee, but then it was up to 5,000 square feet. So you could say, okay, Jazzy Town, they built 60 houses. So 60 houses at an approximate square footage of Jazzy Town, 60 houses, approximate square footage of 1,500 square feet. That's a total project size of 90,000 square feet. So you take 90,000 square feet, subtract 5,000 from that, multiply it by 25. So potentially you could have charged $21,400 to inspect that project. In lieu of that, we charged $150 for the entire project, and Kelly was burdened to go out there and do the water, the wastewater, and try to keep ahead of the sprinkler systems and all the other stuff that was in place. The current fee schedule, we would have been able to recoup $9,000. So we're not asking for a lot, considering what's in place. We could have charged a lot more. And to put it in perspective, it costs the district approximately 120 man hours to do those inspections. So we paid for them to do their project. It's just to put it to perspective. And Kelly has been overworked, and hopefully this is going to relieve, his burden by having somebody in place that could actually do these things in parallel with the water and wastewater.
Okay. And then on the solar plan check fees?
Yes, sir.
Now, that's just a plan check? You're not physically going out?
No, we have, with the solar voltaic systems, it is a fire life safety concern. And on the current fire code, there's going to be a solar voltaic section added to the fire code. And there's mention of it in the current fire code, the 2018 revision with the errata, but the 2019 code will have its own section. So it's a fire life safety component. The reason that we need to inspect them is because they're going on roofs. So we need to know, can we go on this roof? Where is it located? How are the disconnects? Where are the disconnects? Where are the conduits? Because the photovoltaic system doesn't turn off if you go and you shut the power off and you hit the disconnect. They're still generating powers. So there are